Edition of Inner Strong Games Presents. My name is Richard Creed. This is my daughter Piper, hiding behind the box here. We're a baby doggy today. And as I said, this is a special edition of Inner Strong Games Presents. And I had a request a couple of weeks back from some friends of mine on Facebook to do a top 10 two-player games. And I thought, sure, I can do that, no problem at all. Well, it actually was a little bit more harder than I thought. It was quite easy to find games to take off the list, but then I was left over with a lot more than just 10 games by the time it came down to it. So I actually ended up making two lists. I ended up making a list of slightly more complicated games that I think are great two-player games. And I also made a list of games I think family will work well in the family setting or for casual gamers. So we'll kind of run those two side by side, and it's going to take a bit of time, so let's just jump into it right now. Alright, number 10 on the list is, for complex gamers, Lord of the Rings, the card game. A great living card game, but enough in the box to keep you going for quite a while. Both players work cooperatively to beat the evil force of Sauron against the growing threat meter. If the threat grows too much, the players lose. It plays off the books more so than the movies, and so it has tons of stuff in there. There's tons of expansions for it, as far as you get big box expansions, small expansions, House of Doom, Numenor. They have expansions for The Hobbit. Fantastic. Number 10 complex games, Lord of the Rings. If you like lighter fare, Jambo the trading game. A lot of people like Settlers of Catan, but you got to have at least 3 players to really get the trading down on that. Jambo is a trading game with just 2 players because both players have a market, and you're buying and selling goods from a centralized deck. You have action cards that can help you or hurt your opponent. A really great game, very light for as far as trading games go. Very well done, and that's Jambo, number 10 on the family side. Right, number 9 for the complex gamers or complex games. Descent 2.0, or any Descent. The first one, if you still have it, works well. Descent, and I'll go ahead and slide Mansions of Madness in here too, because they're basically the same style game. Overlord or storyteller is leading the adventurers and through a mansion or a dungeon, and it has a very RPG, Dungeons & Dragons kind of feel to it, and it just works great. It comes out great for 2 players because one person can be the Overlord, the other person can run as many adventures as they want. Very easy to switch if you want to do it in 2 players. Same thing with Mansions of Madness. Great concept. So if you like complexity games, number 9, Descent 2.0. Or for the family fare, Wasabi. My wife and I have been playing this game for years. She is fantastic at it. The board itself scales down. It's divided so that it's the 4 players and the 3 players down to 2 players. So it scales perfectly with 2. A lot going on here. Great game, especially for couples. Number 9, Wasabi. Alright, this was actually kind of interesting because after making both lists, my number 8 came out at number 8 on both lists. And that is Small World. Small World, the designer for Small World, Philip Kjartz. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, I'm probably not. But he designed, there's 2 boards, both double-sided, 2-player, 3-player, 4-player, and 5-player. So this game scales perfectly for 2-player because there's a board that fits right for it. And there's tons of stuff. There's again plenty in the base game. There's tons of stuff you can expand on it. And the rules are just so simple that they're light enough for the family and the lighter gaming fare, but they're also complex enough. There's enough going on that it fits in the complex game category also. So one of my favorite games. Definitely in my top 25. I can't remember off the top of my head where it fell over my overall top 100. I know it's pretty close to the top, like 15 or 16, I think. But that's Small World coming in at number 8. A small, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but there's a small gathering of Sauron's forces already down here. Oops, dropped stuff. There you go. Alright, our number 7 games. Oh, that's okay, we'll get that in just a second. Number 7 game for complexity is Star Wars X-Wing. This is an awesome, awesome 2-player game. The models are great. It's the, if you like, I don't know, flight simulators is their flight combat. It's Star Wars. It's a great simulation of the starfighter combat. You know, action cards. You can have specific pilots. The characters are in there. This is an awesome, awesome game, and it plays quick, so you can get a lot of games in. It's great, and they have like, you know, the Millennium Falcon and Slave 1 for it now too, which was, I think the B-wing and the A-wing are coming out later this year too. Excuse me. Just a great, fantastic. Actually, A-wing may already be out. Do we have the A-wing? Oh no, we'll check later. Star Wars X-wing miniature combat, fantastic. On the family side, Mice and Mystics. Mice and Mystics is a story-based cooperative dungeon crawler. Imagine take Descent 2.0 and take the Overlord out of it, so everybody's working together against the game itself, and it just plays fantastic. It's probably, in my opinion, probably one of the best games that Plaid Hats put out. Love this game, love the story track feel. I would really like to see more storybooks put out for it. There may be some on the internet that I just haven't gone searching for yet, but I mean, 2 players working cooperatively to get through these stories, these dungeons. They're not really dungeons; they're just, you know, you're mice. You're running around to a castle in the woods and things. I won't spoil it for you. It's great. Mice and Mystics, number 7 on the family list. Alright, takes to number 6 as we race through these. Number 6, Warhammer Invasion, another living card game. This one kind of has a Magic the Gathering feel to it. Your 2 sides, one that races in the Warhammer world. You have allies fighting with you, but just basically going back and forth trying to destroy the other person's fortress. You have buildings that you can do to help increase your resources. You can play better cards. You have the armies you can put up front. You can go send your people on quests. I like it. I grew up playing Warhammer Fantasy Battle, and this to me, the miniature, the price of the miniature is just outrageous. It's totally ridiculous right now. This for $50, I got 4 factions and tons of stuff, you know, that are effectively the miniatures in card form, and now they have, you know, they add the high elves and the dark elves. And they're coming out this later this fall. There's going to be an expansion that takes all the current neutral races, the Lizardmen, the Skaven, Wood Elves, Undead, all those, and they're going to make them playable races, which is what I've been waiting for forever. Just that expansion alone will probably knock this thing way up on my top 100 list. But for now, it sits at number 6 on the 2-player list for complex games, Warhammer Invasion. And then number 6 on the lighter side. Oh my goodness, here come the creatures. Legendary, a deck building game. You maybe put / Dominion. I think Legendary is better than Dominion. There's more out for but there's just so much you can do with the scalability in Legendary. It's designed as a co-op game, so playing it 2 players works really well. To me, Dominion and also Thunderstone. Thunderstone, which is like my favorite deck building game of all time. They both work better with 3 players, maybe more. I mean, 2 players is not too bad with Thunderstone, but it can start to drag out a bit. But you know, play Epic Thunderstone, that doesn't matter. You know, 2-player Epic Thunderstone is great. But Legendary to me, especially with the new Dark City expansion that came out, that allows you to, you know, really increase the difficulty or scale it back depending on what you're looking for in the game. To me, makes this great for the family, plus the kids with all the comic book rage, the Avengers. You know, the Batman movies that Man of Steel's out. This really, you know, it fits a niche that it's just. Oh, and by the way, it blows DC deck building game out of the water. I'm sorry if you're a DC deck builder fan. Legendary, miles better. All right, let's move on to number 5. All right, my number. Oh wow, that's an upside down ogre. My number 5 for the complex games is actually on the family list later on, so we'll take a look at that in a bit. But my number 5 for the family game list is Ticket to Ride. Ticket to Ride, just one of those games that just works well with no matter how many people are playing. As a 2-player game, it's fantastic. It's great. My wife and I play all the time. It's for all intents and purposes the new Monopoly. It's, you know, you can get it in Walmart, Target, all these places. It's just fantastic game. Number 5 on the family list, Ticket to Ride. So let's jump up to number 4. Number 4 on the complex list is also on the family list. Wow, what's going on here? Well, let's take a look at number 4 on the family list, and that is the one we just did recently in our playthrough, Conquest of Planet Earth. I was highly impressed with how well this worked as a cooperative game. I can definitely see playing this 2 players, both of you working together from opposite sides of the board to meet in the middle and beat the resistance, but also just how scalable the resistance is that just increases that difficulty. It's almost made onto the complex list just because of all the different event cards and things that can go on, but just barely squeaked through onto the family list. Again, really impressed with this game. I didn't think I'd like it as much as I did, but I really did. Really enjoyed it. Number 4, family list, Conquest of Planet Earth. Woof, woof, woof. All right, we're at number 3. Ooh, number 3 already. Number 3 for the complex list is Android Netrunner. Android Netrunner, another living card game that works well with 2 players. This game is amazing with 2 players because both sides play completely different. That's why it's got to be on the complex list. But there's just so much going on. I mean, the base game comes with 4 different corporation factions and 3. You got 7 different playable factions right out of the base game. That's incredible. And again, each of them play so different, and yet they're so balanced at the same time. It's amazing. This is wow. 3, 2, and 1 on the complex list were so close. It was a tight. I mean, this could easily have been number 2 or number 1. Really, I probably could put 3, 2, and 1 up here and just said these are all the best. But Android Netrunner definitely probably hit number 3 just because the living card game aspect of it. You got to buy the expansion to make it better. But still, there's no big box ones out. But the little card set, they're great. They're expanding on new actions and abilities for the corporations and some of the hackers or the runners. Excuse me. It's I can't say enough of this. So we'll just say number 3 on the complex list, Android Netrunner, and then number 3 on the family list was actually number 4 on the complex list, and that's Summoner Wars. Summoner Wars is another great 2-player game, and yet the simplicity of Summoner Wars, another great one from Plaid Hat, is that there's only a few different types of cards. They do different things, but it's all plainly spelled out, and the abilities are not that fancy, they're not that complex, very easily understood. The game can be explained in like 3 minutes. This is a great game for for 2 players, for families. The master set comes with a board. You can buy the board separate on its own if you want. You can buy the smaller sets that come with 2 more factions, and I think it's a paper board. But you can, if you want to, you can add the board and make more. But for 2 players, Summoner Wars, amazing game, and it's number 3 on the family list.
These are the white ones. These are the red.
They are the reds?
This one is
This
the
one's red? Okay.
And that one's the white and that one's the white.
Okay. So there's just 3 of them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, we're not on 3, we're on 2, and this next game I'm not even going to try and haul in from the side. There's so much in here right now. And that's Mage Wars, number 2 on the complex games list. This is an amazing game. I always wanted to get into Magic the Gathering, and some of the living card games like Warhammer Invasion really helped me get to feel this game. Actually, forget Magic the Gathering. This game just totally blows. It has the same kind of feel, but it's so different. You have a deck, and you have access to all the cards in your deck that you've built, so it's got some deck building in it. But it's just amazing. And they've re-released some of the core cards. You can expand them out. There's an expansion that added 2 more mages. And it's just 2 wizards, or I guess not necessarily wizards, battling it out, using their magic to just, who's going to come out the victor. And it's just an amazing game. There's so much stuff going on here. The spell books are awesome. I'm not going to get into it as much as I would in like a top 100 list, but just, trying to keep this fairly short. But number 2, for if you like complexity in your games and 2-player games, you can't get much better than Mage Wars. And then, it's not even going to slide off to the side anymore. For the 2-player games, pardon me, Piper, I'm going to have to reach over here. It's another tie. Here, I'll just slide this over here. Oh no, we lost somebody! Oh no! Tales of Arabian Nights is a storytelling game.
Did you get this back to me?
I can slide it back over there. Here, let me give you this one. Right, yeah.
But the other ones are over there.
I need this one for just 1 second. I'll give it right back to you. Because Agents of Smirsh also tied with Tales of Arabian Nights for the number 2 spot on the family list. These storytelling games are fantastic, and they really work best in a small amount of players. Agents of Smirsh with 4 players actually goes pretty well. I don't know if you play it with 5 or 6. Tales of Arabian Nights, though, with just its choose your own ending kind of flair. These games are great. They both have huge books of paragraphs to read. Tales of Arabian Nights, definitely a blast for the family. If your family is more into the James Bond, secret agent kind of thing, Agents of Smirsh is then where you want to go. Both games, super fantastic. Tied, I know I hate doing ties, but there's still some of the both storytelling games. The theme is really the only thing that separates this, except that Agents of Smirsh actually does have a goal that everybody's trying to work toward, but that doesn't make Tales of Arabian Nights any less fun. So either one of those, number 2 for the family. Alright, and that brings us to our number 1s. Our number 1 for the complex game is Duel of Ages 2, a brand new, brand old, I guess. Duel of Ages has been around for a while. This is Duel of Ages 2, the reboot of it. And, wow. 2 teams, black versus white, and on your teams are Spartacus and Geronimo and people from history and people from the future and aliens, and they're running around, just I'm speechless. I was just so blown away by this game. I bought the base game. I don't have the master set yet. It's like I'm not willing to drop that much dime on it. Kind of wish they had broken that out into the smaller expansions. The master set is essentially 7 expansions in one box. Not really a big fan of that. Would like to have spent $20 at a time or so, but wow, I might just have to save up and pick it up at some point, because this game, number 1 on the complex list, amazing, and just the sheer, you'll never play the same game twice, bottom line. Impossible, especially from what I understand, if you get the master set that adds another 144 characters to it, you never have to play the same. Just go get it. And if you've got more than 2 people in your group, it does play up to, I wouldn't play with probably more than maybe 6 people on each side, 3 players per team. You said you can play up to 8, 4 on a team. That seems like it might be stretching a bit. So maybe 6. But 2. So 2-player list, 2 players, Duel of Ages. Go get it. Duel of Ages 2. And then number one for the family list, that was also number 5 on the complex list, is Lost Cities. Lost Cities blows me away at what an awesome game it is, and just how it bridges that gap. You wouldn't think that just laying numbers in sequential order is that complex, but there's a bit of math into it, because you've got to remember that anytime I start an expedition, I've got to subtract points, and I'm getting bonuses, I'm doing multipliers here, but I actually do the multipliers after everything else. But at the same point, it's still simple. It's very simple. My wife and I play this all the time. I think it's one of her favorites, the one she requests us to play the most. It's just a great game. It's it's in a small box. It's just nothing but cards. It carries fast. For families and for complex gamers alike, Lost Cities is overall number 1. You're right, baby doggy. And that wraps up our top 10 lists for the top 2-player games. Blake, Jessica, that's for you guys. I would love to hear from everybody else out there. What are your recommendations? Did I leave things off the list that should have been there, or did I pretty well hit the nail on the head? maybe there's some, excuse me, maybe there's some games I haven't played out there that I need to try out. As for the rest of Inner games, we've got the Legendary Dark City rules video that we're shooting, and we'll hopefully have that up in about a week or so, and then we'll do the playthrough for that. In the meantime, you can like us on Facebook, Inner Games, or Facebook/InnerStrongGames.com. I always mess that up. Or follow us on Twitter, even though I am a horrific tweeter. That's just at InnerStrongGames, or our website, InnerStrongGames.com, www.InnerStrongGames.com. And again, thanks for everyone that subscribed. I really appreciate it, especially for the Conquest of Planet Earth, the people that commented or emailed or sent feedback. I love it. I appreciate it. I had a blast doing that. I'm looking forward to doing more, and I hope you'll stay with us for those. And until then, we'll catch you later. Bye-bye.
Why can't I do it?